Kia ora, good evening. The wait continues as all involved in the future of Rugby Park Stadium keep mum on the facility's future. There's been as yet no statement from either the Southland Outdoor Stadium Trust, the Invercargill Licensing Trust, the Community Trust of Southland or Rugby Southland. All that could be gleaned on the issue from the Invercargill City Council came from Chief Executive Richard King, who said the future of Rugby Park should be revealed within 6 weeks. The Southland policing area has continued to achieve positive results with reduced crime rates and a resolution rate of 54.7%, well above the national average. The number of recorded offences dropped from around 7,500 in 2012 to around 6,500 last year. In the latest crime statistics by region, Southland's done very well with a further 12.4% crime reduction for 2013, punching well above its weight on a national scale.
We've seen significant crime reductions in Southland, and we're talking about 2,200 less victims and less offences, so that's very significant for a small area like us. But, we're not going to sit on our laurels. We'll certainly keep pushing. And I know that we are, at the moment, for this financial year since Christmas, we're still tracking another reduction. So we're going really well, but we want to keep that work going.
Inspector Todd says targeted policing tactics are behind the success that's seen theft and related offences drop by 11.6% and property damage down over 21%.
What we've really focused on in Southland is our 5 drivers of crime. So that's alcohol, family violence or violence, youth and road policing and organised crime. So we have had quite a bit of focus on that, and if we look at alcohol as a really good example, we've seen significant reducing crime in our CBD in Invercargill, and that's to do with better agency involvement and also having a collaborative approach with our councils.
Police are reliant on information shared and trust and confidence with key partnerships and volunteer organisations.
We work very closely with Mary Wardens, our community patrol and neighbourhood support. They're all volunteers, but we get some really good results working with them.
Staffing numbers haven't changed, but where they spend time deployed has, reflecting in public order offences like disorderly or offensive conduct, down almost 22%.
No, we haven't had any decreases or increases in staff, but what we are doing is we are probably being a bit smarter how we deploy our staff. So we identify what the risk times and locations are, and we actually make sure we've got staff deployed to that area. And the other thing is we've actually put an increase in staff into our family violence team because we've recognised family violence is still quite a hard one to manage, and we need to do a lot more work on that, so we've actually increased the resource into that area.
A key policing excellence project is mobility. Streamlining paperwork has by far brought the biggest wins, with every staff member now equipped with either iPhones or iPads.
So using the electronic equipment, we've been able to free up 30 minutes per staff member per shift, and we've reinvested that time straight back into the community, and that's really paying dividends. We're getting really good feedback from the community, especially our retailers, the amount of foot patrols that we're doing now around those target risk times.
Also going well is the rural crime prevention strategy.
And we're working in with some of our big agencies that work in that rural community, like Fonterra and some of the rural sector companies, and also the insurance with FMG. So what we're really focusing on there is trying to reduce and prevent crime around burglaries and thefts in the rural sector.
Burglary offences rose 11%, but Inspector Todd puts this down to a spate of incidents leading up to Christmas last year.
No, we certainly had an increase in the last 3 months leading up to Christmas in Invercargill, and but the good thing is that hasn't turned into a trend. So we certainly had a blip, and we had some offenders that were actively involved in that we've obviously put before the courts.
Effective policing like prevention first and victim-focused strategies are positively impacting on sustained crime reduction in the south, making the region one of the safest places in the country to live and visit. Margot Sutherland, South Today News. Meanwhile, nationally, the number of young people facing court charges has fallen to the lowest level since records began 20 years ago. Justice Minister Judith Collins says understanding drivers of crime and a cohesive approach by agencies toward preventing crime in the first instance are behind the results.
The numbers of young people appearing in the youth court peaked in 2007 at about 5 and a bit thousand, and now it's down to about 2,500. It's dropped 51% in a very short period of time. And it's a tremendous amount of work going on to keep these kids in school, keep them out of trouble, start very much dealing with the drivers of the crime and their criminal activity, but also making sure that all the agencies are working together, in that rather than every agency having their own plan, going to visit the children and their families separately, doing everything together, and that's making a big difference.
It has been a tremendous reduction. Do you have a goal going forward?
Well, we're already pretty much reached a goal of having about 24% lower youth crime, and by 2017 I think we're going to be exceeding that, so we will look at further goals. However, we're also very much aware that we are not going to get no crime at all from young people, but it is very important to focus on what's really happening, and if we can keep this going, then we will see further drops in our adult prison population as well.
Is it that the crime is not happening as much, or that they're being dealt with outside of court earlier?
It's certainly both of those things. It's both that there's certainly less crime. We're at a 33-year low in the level of reported crime, and so even if matters aren't resolved or aren't solved, they're still counted as crime. So we have a very genuine drop in recorded crime. But also it's about being a bit more proactive and dealing with the matters quickly and sorting out what's really going on in a young person's life. And the vast majority of young people, if we can keep them out of the court system, then it means we know we will keep them out of the adult court system, and that's what we're really after.
After the break, Vibrant Invercargill says enough is enough to the City Council and a proposal for a $500,000 gym for Splash Palace. Welcome back. Vibrant Invercargill Chair Philip Todd says enough is enough of Invercargill City Council's publicised incorrect information to assist with the damage against Vibrant Invercargill.
Mr Todd says that this year's draft annual plan reports in the public submissions that the relationship between the business community and the council is one of the 8 key priorities identified in the Inner City Working Group. He says that according to Council's Inner City Action Plan, the 8 priorities are city centre promotion and events, city centre focus on council policies and actions, business development and attraction, heritage protection and enhancement, car parking, the improved integration of Tay and D streets and public spaces.
We're worried about what's going into the plan. It's a misrepresentation of some of the facts around what Vibrant's work involves, and it's very hard to, for us to understand how they're going to make a good decision on information that's not really correct. The 8 points that they put forward as the key points of Vibrant do. One of the points is just completely been brought to our attention in the last few minutes, and it was never there before, so we'd never seen it before.
When contacted today, City Chief Executive Richard King said that both he and Mayor Tim Shadbolt had met with Vibrant and both encouraged them to participate in the annual plan submission process.
I think there's definitely a program out there to get rid of Vibrant. I think it's been ongoing for some time, and this is just another stage of that.
Funding for Vibrant has been proposed to end in June this year, with its targeted rate expected to be directed elsewhere. Hunter Andrews, South Today News.
A sustainable approach to looking after river corridors and river systems throughout the region is behind a new concept plan developed to control unwanted vegetation in Southland rivers. Environment Southland want community feedback on the unique concept that's designed to reduce reliance on herbicides to control riverside pest plants.
The vegetation is the major issue in terms of blockages to our floodway networks, causing all sorts of other problems relating to river management issues, particularly soil erosion and potential damage to our flood protection schemes. But those plants also do harbour a range of pest animals such as rabbits and possums.
You're currently spending around $1 million a year on the process for aerial spraying to try and keep down the gorse, broom and cracked willow that are abundant in those areas. Potential savings with this other option?
The other option looks at areas that we may be able to remove from the program by using other options and methods of control. So we do see that every hectare that's removed out of the program and used in a better way will save in the order of $500 per annum per hectare.
as far as the community goes, what will they benefit from if that removal goes ahead?
Well, the community has a very, very strong link to the river systems and what they value in river systems. So their link is associated with other activities such as better recreation accessibility for people to go fishing, walking, biking, picnicking, and also how they can better access the river systems as well.
The environmental effects of the spraying program is not ideal, so you are looking at something that's more sustainable in the long term.
Yes, we're looking at a range of options that take away the dependency on the use of herbicides for very obvious reasons, that we are working in a riverbed environment, so of course the application of herbicides needs to be kept down to an absolute minimum. We know that we won't be able to get completely away from the use of herbicides totally, but we're looking at every option that will reduce the dependency on that, and it could include options such as forestry, cut and carry cropping, and a range of grazing options without shifting stock directly close to the waterways where the berm areas are particularly wide, and also introducing a big range of native vegetation back into the upper environments. That would also include good options for vegetation that will be bee friendly. The river systems generally are against the agricultural productive sector's boundaries. They are the initial primary beneficiaries, but the wider community are a very, very important part of the whole process, and we really do want to hear from them about what they value in the river systems and what they want it to look like.
And that concept plan is available online from Environment Southland, www.es.govt.nz, along with a feedback form. Southland is featuring more and more on the small screen, with film crews completing a number of shoots in the region last year.
Last week, SsangYong Motor Company, the fourth largest South Korean vehicle manufacturer, filmed part of its new advertisement for its action ute at Ariti Beach. Film Otago Southland Executive Manager Kevin Jennings says that while there are seasonal variations, annually advertisements drive the local industry and have immediate spin-offs for the economy. Mr Jennings says that access to beach locations can be very difficult. Southland's film-friendly approach gives the region a global advantage. Venture Southland Group Manager for Enterprise and Strategic Projects Steve Canny says that 10 television commercials and music videos have been shot in Southland during the past year or so. He says Southland has a diverse range of scenery in a microcosm, and that's why the region is so appealing. He added that Southland has also developed a good reputation as a region for being able to get things done quickly.
Improving the well-being of the city's residents is behind a proposal to add a gymnasium facility to Invercargill's aquatic centre, Splash Palace. The proposal was presented to the Community Services Committee at Invercargill City Council on Monday and includes plans to build a $500,000 public gym facility. The gym would be located within the existing framework, although the cafe and reception area would combine to make room for the facility. The gym would be fully funded by a loan, and projections show revenue from operations would service all expenditure, including capital and debt servicing, and return a positive net financial result to Council. The proposal is expected to go before a full council meeting in the coming months. Next up on sport, we talk to Southland Sharks coach Paul Henare ahead of the Sharks' first game this Friday night. From the news team, good evening.